Have you ever thought about trust as a form of infrastructure? Just like roads, bridges, and the internet, a high level of social trust makes everything in a society run smoother, faster, and cheaper. It's an invisible network that underpins daily life, and nowhere is this more evident than in many parts of Europe, particularly in the Nordic countries. This isn't about claiming Europe is a utopia, far from it. But by looking at how their low corruption systems work, we can understand the incredible power of trust. So what does a trust economy actually look like? Let's start with something simple: a public library. In Denmark, many libraries operate on a self-service model, even when there are no staff present. You can walk in with your library card, browse the shelves, check out your books using a machine, and leave. The doors are open because the system trusts that you won't steal the books or vandalize the space. This trust isn't blind. It's built on a shared understanding that public services are for everyone, and damaging them only hurts the community. Imagine the cost savings in staffing alone, all because trust is the default setting. This extends to public transportation. In cities like Zurich or Helsinki, you'll often see tram systems with no ticket barriers. You're expected to buy a ticket, but no one physically stops you from getting on. While there are random checks with heavy fines for fare dodgers, the system largely runs on the honor principle. This approach says, "We trust you to do the right thing." It speeds up boarding, reduces infrastructure costs, and creates a less confrontational, more pleasant travel experience for everyone. The society is essentially betting that most people are honest, and that bet pays off. Now, let's talk about business and government, where the stakes are even higher. In a low-corruption environment, starting a business can be remarkably straightforward. Processes are transparent, the rules are clear and apply to everyone equally. You don't need to budget for facilitation payments or worrying that a competitor will get ahead by bribing an official. This predictability is a massive economic advantage. It encourages entrepreneurship and investment because people trust that the system is fair. They know their hard work won't be undermined by someone with deeper pockets or better connections. This trust in institutions has profound effects on daily life. For example, when a Swedish person receives a letter from the tax agency, Skatteverket, their first reaction isn't usually fear or suspicion. It's a sense of, okay, what do I need to do? This is because these government bodies have a reputation for being efficient, professional, and fair. There's a general belief that the taxes you pay will actually go towards the public services they were meant for: schools, healthcare, infrastructure, because the system is designed to prevent leakage and misuse. This creates a virtuous cycle. People trust the government with their money, so they are more willing to pay taxes, which in turn funds the high-quality services that build even more trust. Think about the mental energy this saves. In high-corruption societies, you're constantly on guard. You double-check every bill, you're wary of police officers, and you assume that any official process will involve some kind of hidden cost or delay. It's exhausting. It's a trust tax that everyone has to pay in time, stress, and money. In a low-corruption society, much of that mental burden is lifted. You can generally assume that the pharmacist is giving you the correct medication, that the mechanic isn't inventing fake problems with your car, and that the police officer is there to help. Again, it's not perfect, but the baseline assumption is one of integrity. This even shows up in small, everyday interactions. In Norway, it's common to see unattended farm stands by the side of the road. You'll find boxes of fresh potatoes, strawberries, or eggs with a price list and a cash box or a mobile payment number. The farmer trusts that passers-by will pay for what they take, and most people do. Why? Because it's part of a culture where you treat others the way you want to be treated. It's a culture built on the idea that we're all in this together. Breaking that trust for the sake of a few free potatoes would feel like a violation of a deeply held social contract. So how did these countries build such strong trust infrastructure? It wasn't an overnight process. It's the result of centuries of development, focusing on strong, independent institutions, a free press that holds power accountable, and a deep cultural emphasis on equality and transparency. When people feel that the system isn't rigged, that everyone is playing by the same rules from the prime minister down to the average citizen, they are more likely to buy into that system and uphold it themselves. For instance, in Finland, the government publishes every citizen's taxable income once a year. This is a radical level of transparency. While it might seem like an invasion of privacy to some, the Finns see it as a powerful tool against corruption and inequality. It makes it very difficult to hide illicit income, and it sparks public debate about fair pay. This transparency acts as a social disinfectant, building confidence that the system is open and accountable. The same principle applies to the justice system. When people believe that the courts are impartial and that the law will be applied fairly regardless of who you are, it creates a powerful sense of security. You don't have to fear that a wealthy opponent can simply buy a more favorable verdict. This trust in the rule of law is the bedrock of a stable society. It means that contracts will be enforced, property rights will be respected, and disputes can be resolved peacefully and predictably. The economic benefits are immense. Transactions become more efficient when you don't need to spend excessive time and money on vetting, monitoring, and legal protections for every little thing. International companies are more willing to invest in countries where the legal and regulatory frameworks are stable and trustworthy. It reduces the cost of doing business for everyone. Think of it this way: corruption is like friction in the gears of the economy. Low-corruption societies have simply managed to remove a lot of that friction, allowing the machine to run more smoothly. But the most important benefit might be the social cohesion it creates. When you trust your fellow citizens and the institutions that govern you, it fosters a sense of community and shared purpose. It allows for a level of freedom and personal security that is hard to achieve otherwise. The freedom to let your kids walk to school alone. The security of knowing that if you need emergency services, they will arrive without demanding a bribe. The comfort of engaging in a transaction with a stranger, believing they will act in good faith. This isn't to say that you should blindly trust everyone and everything. Healthy skepticism is always wise. The point is not about naive trust, but about the existence of reliable systems that make trust the most logical and efficient choice in most situations. These European examples show us that building a low-corruption society isn't just a moral goal, it's a practical one. It's about building an invisible infrastructure of trust that makes life better, safer, and more prosperous for everyone. It is a powerful reminder that the most valuable asset a country can have is the faith its people have in each other and in their shared institutions. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this perspective on trust and society interesting, consider liking this video and subscribing for more content. What does trust look like where you live? Share your experiences in the comments below. See you next time.